So what are some ways we can break down our learning cues so that students remember better?
Welcome to the PE Express podcast. Today's host is Jessica Shawley, a National Board Certified Teacher Leader from Idaho and a Shape America National Teacher of the Year.
There are a few principles that I keep in mind when it comes to designing learning cues for my students in order to help them remember the content better. First, I just have to mention there's a great book by Dr. John Medina called Brain Rules. And in it, there's several principles and tips on how our mind works and surviving and thriving type of tips for us. And in it, he talks about our short-term memory and our long-term memory. And when it comes to short-term memory, it's important to repeat. So the cue with that is repeat to remember. And then when it comes to long-term memory, in order to encode those memories, we have to remember to repeat. So I put this all together for myself, and I'm constantly telling this to myself when I'm designing things: repeat to remember, remember to repeat. If I know if I want to learn something, again, I have to repeat to remember and remember to repeat. In fact, I tell this to my students as a learning cue quite a bit as we're emphasizing the same cues over and over, or as we're reviewing content. So repeat to remember, remember to repeat. All of this kind of inspires the next two things when I'm designing learning cues. The first one is keeping things in short and sweet snippets so that it is easier to repeat these things. So how can I keep cues to 3 or 4 major principles, major short and sweet cues? Whether it's my overhand tennis serve, saying down together, up together, high five, follow through. Or teaching students how to swing or throw, where there's the importance of getting sideways. And so I might say sideways, show, step, throw. There's lots of different cues that you can keep it short and sweet, and then you can work with the students at a more individual level for any other dialed in tips. But I don't like overwhelming them with all the different learning cues or all the different specifics. It's really important to keep it short and sweet and concise so that then I can repeat these cues over and over in order to help them remember. And lastly, I really like to try to find the time to rhyme. And there's the rhyme for me. That's how I remember this. Find the time to rhyme, or rhymes with reason, because I know rhyming can help really encode the memory, can help bring some fun into what it is that we're learning. So I really do try and rhyme as much as I can. And some examples of that include when I'm teaching students how to group and pair up within my program. So I might say twos, toe to toe, here we go. And then the students know that I want them in twos, and then I want them toe to toe with their neighbor as quickly as possible. So again, we practice at twos, toe to toe, here we go. Another one would be with this when we're in pairings, because the students, they might try and get in groups of 3. If they see someone doesn't have a partner, oh, come be with us, which is really a great way to show kindness. But what I want them to do is I want them to come to the middle if they don't have a partner, because then ultimately someone else doesn't have a partner or we don't have the right groupings, and then I can quickly get them paired up, or I will act as the partner. And so I tell the students, no groups of 3 unless approved by me. So then that way they know to jog to the middle. Okay, we have 3. Can we be a group of 3? And if they're the last 3 people, then yes, you 3 can be in a group. But if they're not, if someone else needs a partner, then boom, here I go. I have 2 and 2. And so that rhyme really helps them cue to them, okay, let's go to the middle. No groups of 3 unless approved by me. Another one with this, when we're outside and we're in activities, I am going to tell them, when you hear 3 long whistles, that means come find me. So the rhyme is, that's 3, come find me. So that they know as they're out there on the field or out there on the track, they hear those long 3 whistles, boom, it's time to come in. So that's 3, come find me. And then lastly, during gameplay rotations, you might want to develop a rhyme so that students can rotate themselves if you're not always wanting to have to move everyone yourself through different rotations. So a different way to do this is, let's say you're playing some sort of net game and you have courts or multiple small-sided games going on. If you have 2 teams playing and you have a third team on that field or that court, they are serving as the referees and the scorekeepers, and they're waiting to rotate on. And so the rhyme would go, if you win, you stay in. If it's 2 in a row, you go. Or if you wanted to decide if it's 3 in a row, you go. So ultimately, 2 teams are playing, and when the game is done, or when it's time for the teams to rotate, the winning team stays in, and then the team that lost comes off to referee and keep score. But then after that next round, again, if that team won again, if that's 2 in a row, you go. So then that team would pop off because they had won 2 in a row, and then that team who was waiting again, scorekeeping and refereeing, would pop on. So have fun with your learning cues. Find the time to rhyme. Think of short, sweet, and specific cues that your students will be able to repeat to remember, and then remember to repeat.
If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to connect with Jessica on Twitter @JessicaShawley. Don't forget to subscribe to the PE Express podcast for more tips, activity ideas, and strategies to help you become a better PE professional. We'll see you soon, right here on the PE Express podcast, powered by Gopher, your resource for all things physical education.